Jen MacLean has resigned as executive director of the International Game Developers Association, IGDA, and will officially depart on April 14. Breaking the news on Twitter, MacLean explained she's leaving to take on a new opportunity, and said she's proud of what the IGDA has achieved in recent times. Over the past 10 months, the IGDA grew to 111 chapters around the world, 36 special interest groups, and over 50 studio affiliates, and we gave our community an unprecedented amount of financial support, she wrote. The IGDA Foundation sent over 175 amazing people from 6 continents to game conferences around the world, with travel stipends, studio tours, mentors, and exclusive QA sessions and workshops, which truly made a difference in the lives of aspiring and current game developers. And I know the odds are well positioned for the next executive director to continue this wonderful positive momentum and do amazing things. MacLean has served as the IGDA's executive director since September 2017, when she was appointed on an interim basis. Following the departure of Kate Edwards, she was then awarded the permanent role 5 months later, adding to a CV that included executive roles at AOL, Comcast, and 38 studios. IGDA chair Luke Deacon will lecture as interim executive director, while the organization searches for its next permanent appointment. In the IGDA Europe 2016 talk, UNTNOD's Christian Divine reflects on the writing and design process for Life is Strange, and how its development heroes are for narrative games. Divine discusses how the acceptance of life is strange among players, was a sign that game narratives are expanding, and the new age has become a blue age of storytelling. It was an insightful talk that's definitely still worth watching, so developers should not miss the opportunity to do so now that it's freely available on the official IGDA YouTube channel. In addition to this presentation, IGDA Vault and its accompanying YouTube channel offers numerous other free videos, audio recordings, and slides from many of the recent game developers conference events, and the service offers even more members-only content for IGDA Vault subscribers. Those who purchased all-access passes to recent events, like IGDA Vault, already have full access to IGDA Vault, and interested parties can apply for the individual subscription via the IGDA Vault subscription page. Group subscriptions are also available. Game-related schools and development studios who sign up for IGDA Vault Studio subscriptions can receive access for their entire office accompanied by contacting staff via the IGDA Vault Group subscription page. Finally, current subscribers with access issues can contact the IGDA Vault technical support. Gamasutra and IGDA sibling organizations under parent company Informa. Rise to Ruins is seemingly doing well in early access, so much so that the game's developer 60 Games has closed down the studio's Patreon and announced that it will be refunding those that pledged to the campaign, and then some. Remember, the sole dev behind 60 says that he won't still return twice the amount of every pledge back to those that contributed to the Patreon during the game's ongoing development. It's quite the gesture, and one that bodes well both for the game's developer and those players that followed the game's development on Patreon. Dora notes that the Patreon was originally set up as a rainy day fund to keep the studio up and running through any rough weather. But the game itself has performed well enough in its 4 years in early access that the additional income is no longer necessary. After some very careful consideration, I have decided to shut down the Patreon, Reads the post on the game's Steam page. The reason being rise to ruins. It only sustains my livelihood and a nice rainy day account that can keep existing games running through the hard times now. So I do not feel right taking additional money from you guys. Your support has and always will be appreciated, and I thank you all for your pledges, reviews, and of course, buying the game. Past pledges interested in taking the dev up on their offer can find more information on how to do so in that full post. 5 years ago, Idols Montreal BLUGHTDA US expect life with the release of Human Revolution, a game that was designed to, among other things, play with themes of transhumanism and why people make the choices they do. Now the studio has released a follow-up, Deus Ex, Mankind Divided, that purports to show a possible way those choices could play out, a near future where mechanically augmented people are segregated from the rest of society. In a recent conversation, Executive Narrative Director Mary DeMorley told Gamasutra that Mankind Divided was written to hold a mirror up to the world and expose it. That's a notable challenge for any developer, and DeMorley says Idols Montreal had to significantly change the way it operates and bring more writers in-house to produce the storylines. Conversations on the emails scattered throughout Mankind Divided. From a certain perspective, that's actually the easy part. The harder part comes in trying to reflect real-world issues in a respectful and meaningful way. Mankind Divided's marketing initiative put a significant emphasis on the themes of segregation and discrimination that ran through the game's narrative, referencing real-world issues like apartheid and the Black Lives Matter movement in their promotional campaigns. The game and its team have received significant criticism over this, and DeMorley says criticism is valuable when it's fair and fairly delivered. What follows is our full conversation about the art and effort of IGDA US Ex, Mankind Divided, one that sheds some light on how a game that treats with conspiracy theories, terrorism and fears written in a time when the world seems awash in conspiracy theories, terrorism and fear. DeMorley, as the executive narrative director for the Deus Ex franchise, that basically means I am in charge of all the story and all the narrative created for Deus Ex. So for Human Revolution, that meant I was the lead writer and led a team of writers, and on Mankind Divided I am leading an even bigger team of writers, and working with all the departments to basically make sure that the story is infused throughout the game, or that the multiple stories get put into the game as the player experiences them. Good. It's quite hot today in Montreal, and it gets very humid on this coast, so I am attempting to stay cool. Well, that's a big question. Well, a lot has changed. We always kind of talked about doing Human Revolution, and we have said that when we did Human Revolution, we kind of had to be naive, and when we did the next game, which is now Mankind Divided, we have to have courage. So we learned a lot. We had no idea what we were getting into, really, when we started Human Revolution, just in terms of like, how do you reinvent the Deus Ex license? How do you reboot it? And from that game we did actually learn an awful lot. And when that game ended, we kind of said, okay, what did we learn from it? You know, we always go through that process at the end of the game, to say what did we do right, what did we fail at, what did we want to fix. So we went through that, and some of the things we wanted to fix this time around are, well, now, I am forgetting a few, because I have been on vacation for about a month. Thank you. So anyway, one of the things we definitely wanted to fix was boss fights. and we kind of just wanted to make some other improvements in the gameplay. We wanted to make the combat more visceral, more fun, because we thought we got the stealth right on the last game, but the combat was a little lacking, so we wanted to make those pillars equal, and then from a narrative perspective, we really wanted to go a lot deeper with story in the world. We still want to make the main story accessible, so you can play through the game and understand it. At a bare minimum, you can understand it. But also, the more that you dive into the world, and the more you do side quests, the more you are going to discover so much more to this world. And we really wanted to push the choices further, especially like further branching of the narrative and like, for example, in a lot of the side quests, we really pushed so that you can end a side quest in like 10 minutes based on your choices.